An archaeological study has unveiled some amazing relics underneath the ground in Israel. Construction workers digging up a highway have discovered some liquor bottles underneath the surface, as our culture correspondent Maya Margit reports.
The land of Israel has known its share of historic military battles, and relics of these conflicts do pop up from time to time. But what was recently discovered in the Israeli town of Ramla managed to raise some eyebrows. Hundreds of liquor bottles. And not just any liquor bottles. These belonged to British soldiers during the First World War. According to the Israeli Antiquities Authority, British soldiers were stationed in the area during the war.
We are at an excavation on behalf of the Israel Antiquities Authority, during which the building you see here was uncovered. It is an Ottoman period structure that British soldiers used during World War I.
The British Army stayed here for 9 months, when it was in fact advancing north to occupy the rest of the country and expel the Ottomans from Israel at that time, ensuring a new era of British presence in Israel.
On November 15, 1917, the Egyptian Expeditionary Force under the command of General Allenby conquered the area around Ramla. This was part of a British campaign against the Turkish army in Palestine. Before occupying Jerusalem, British soldiers settled exactly where the excavations took place. Among the exciting finds, condiment bottles from Yorkshire, beer bottles, wine glasses, buttons from British soldiers' uniforms, and a bottle of Gordon's gin. As Sari Mark, one of the head researchers, explains, the items provide us with a rare opportunity to glimpse the unwritten part of history, how soldiers lived 100 years ago.
The site reveals to us for the first time what you could say is direct, authentic evidence of finds from the daily life of British soldiers who stayed here for so long.
As the old saying goes, an army marches on its stomach. Surely they meant food, but drinks were definitely included.
Now, our culture correspondent herself, Maya Margit, joins me in the studio. Maya, thank you for being with us.
Sure.
Talk me through how significant this discovery is. What can we learn from what they found?
Well, it is quite significant. I just want to mention that they actually made this discovery while they were building a new highway, and they kind of stumbled into it. So it was a very surprising find. Right. It's the first time they say, according to the Israel Antiquities Authority, they find evidence of the daily life of British soldiers during that period. Not only did they find liquor bottles, they also found the swagger stick, which was this kind of cane that officers would carry to show that they were in a position of authority. And according to the IAA, this is the first time they find this kind of item as well. So it's a very significant find. You know, when you hear about history, you usually hear about the battles, who is the victor, who is the loser, who are the leaders, but you don't hear so much about what soldiers were doing on a daily basis and how they were living.
Yeah. Absolutely. Now, considering the political and geographical landscape of where these bottles were found, how did they get the liquor inside the country?
Well, they had to import it. According to the archaeologists, they were importing all of these liquor bottles into the land of Palestine at the time. It was beer, whiskey, gin, wine, all from Europe. 70% of what they found actually were liquor bottles, showing how much they were drinking. There are some theories. They're still examining. The archaeologists are still analyzing and examining all of these objects. They might send them back to Britain to be displayed permanently, but they're saying that it could have been, these liquor bottles could have belonged to officers and maybe not all the soldiers in general. It could have been part of an officers' elite club where they would drink and enjoy themselves. Or it could be evidence of all the soldiers drinking, taking it easy. They were in Ramla for 9 months before they moved to Jerusalem.
Right, because you don't really hear these stories coming out of, you know, these aren't the battle stories that we hear about. And we know the horrors that these soldiers had to go through. You can only imagine the amount of liquid courage these men would need.